Welcome everyone, and I hope you have been enjoying the SUGCON 2021 so far. Our topic, Content Science, is about how businesses can leverage their Sitecore-enabled websites for greater ROI and use the art and science of taking a systematic, data-driven approach to creating exceptional customer-centric strategies. Now that was a mouthful, and hopefully we can break it down for you and make it as simple as possible. They say that genius is taking the complex and making it simple, so we hope to do that for you today. My name is Ken Gray. I am a customer experience strategist at Konabos. I am a former two-time strategy MVP at Sitecore Strategy MVP, and have been doing and working with Sitecore since 2011 BC, BC being before COVID. I'm joined by Rachna Gupta, a digital marketing and SEO strategist and guru in her own rights.
Yeah, thank you, Ken. I'm Rachna Gupta. I'm a digital marketing strategist and very excited to speak here today. Let me take an opportunity to introduce you to the Konabos team. We are a part of larger Konabos team, which is comprised of 6 Sitecore MVPs and a host of great people from parts of the world. You will know many from their work in the Sitecore community. We specialize in composable Jamstack DXP solutions and of course, Sitecore.
And our agenda for this session today is to be awesome. And of course, with Rachna on the team, I think we can check that box off. And we're also going to talk about personalization paralysis. We're going to diagnose the problem, and we're going to get into the content science solution and how we do things, how to use the scientific and data-driven approaches to generate awesome content that is meaningful and engages your customers on an individualized basis. Many companies that buy Sitecore buy it for its robust marketing, customer experience, and personalization capabilities. However, we've also come to know that many organizations have a hard time getting their personalization dreams and visions implemented on the Sitecore DCX platform. We call that kind of being stuck in phase 1 or the getting to mythical phase 2. Back in the day, just a little bit of background on what a DCX platform is. Back in the day, the web was a static place. You could build a website using HTML, CSS, and basically let it sit there and you were good. However, in today's world, things have very much changed and things have become very, very dynamic, visually appealing, interactive, and even automated. I remember when I got started years ago, we had bulletin board systems, which were pretty much just text-based environments where you can message somebody and hopefully get a response back. But today, web content management systems have become a platform backed by databases and have also given way to now what we call DCX platforms, such as Sitecore. And they're all about delivering dynamic and the right content to a specific customer profile or persona at just the right time in their customer journey. So exceptional digital customer experiences are all about making interactions with your brand personal. It's what customers expect today. In fact, we can blame Amazon, Zappos, Apple, and Google for that. The expectations of customers have risen to extreme levels. But of course, using a tool like Sitecore, you can certainly meet that expectation and go beyond. And if you're like me, you may have even gotten annoyed with those that don't personalize and with brands or brands that have not personalized, that are not polished and delivering a relevant message to yourself. I remember about 10 years ago, I had purchased an automobile, an SUV, from a large automobile manufacturer dealership. And about a month after I purchased this vehicle, the I began receiving their newsletter. I guess it was a new initiative because when I received this email, it was a hodgepodge of different fonts and color sizes, different font colors and varying sizes of fonts, and spelling and grammar errors. And this is from a large manufacturer, automobile manufacturer. In fact, it looked like the email was built by a third grader. And in this message, it looked clearly like a blanketed broadcast to everyone in their database, because it didn't take into consideration that I had recently purchased the same vehicle that they were trying to get me to come in and test drive. So needless to say, I quickly deleted that email. I wish I had kept it, actually. You would have laughed and chuckled at what this company had done. And that was 10 years ago, when people started doing email marketing and so on and so forth. More recently, I don't know if anybody here has a cell phone, but and I say that in jest, most of us do, and probably even more than one. But my telco, again, another large national brand that I've been doing business with for well over 10 years, sent me, again, another marketing message promoting an iPhone and to upgrade my iPhone. And in fact, I've been a customer, like I said, for 10 years, but I'm an Android user. I'm a Samsung guy. I've never changed from a Samsung phone for the last 10 years. And so I found it very, again, humorous that they would be sending me a promotion to upgrade my iPhone, because I actually don't own one. So needless to say, again, very annoyed, and again, not the experience I was after, and hence fast delete. So don't let that be your brand, because what we know is that content personalization works, whether that's in an email channel, a social media channel, or on your website. A lot of what we'll be talking about today will have to do with your web channel, but always be thinking about your customer, because we know that 93% of the organizations that do personalize will see an average increase of sales of 19%. And that was a research done by Forrester's. What we also know is that 80% of marketers and organizations fail to personalize. So the question is, why? And I'm glad you asked. Let's get into the problem diagnosis. Based on research and experience working with marketers and hearing their feedback, we've come to find that there are 4 main reasons why companies fail to personalize. And off the top, we have waterfall project mentality. And I'm going to break each one of these down, so we'll understand what we mean by these things. Siloed teams, some of them are pretty self-explanatory as well. Lack of time, this is a good one, and you'll understand why in a moment. And inertia, insanity. So when we think about the waterfall project mentality, we think about big build projects. Large organizations tend to operate and plan big projects and then spend 6 to 12 months developing or completing that project. Now, we say that to do this with your strategy and your content strategy and your personalization is foolhardy, because customers are always evolving. In fact, I think back in 2005, they essentially said that a web year is essentially 3 months. So essentially what takes place in a year typically happens online in 3 months. And since COVID, we know that what was supposed to happen in 10 years got compressed. Electronically, e-commerce got compressed into a single year. Companies began to scramble to become more digital. And so personalization should not be thought of as a project. Like content management, it should be more of a core operational and ongoing DCX activity. What you know about your customer today might not be the same tomorrow. Going back to my examples, I had purchased a vehicle. I no longer needed to test drive one. So it's important to be humble as a brand and as a company, and continuously be learning and tweaking the customer experience. In short, be agile. Siloed teams, not involving the right people in the process. So consider this, in your organization, there are many touch points for your customers as they interact with your brand. And it's important that we include all of those touch points and individuals that may have information and insights into the customer based on those interactions and touch points. For example, your SEO expert, if you have one in-house, can not being brought into a project until it's time to actually add keywords and metadata to a page is too late. They should be a part of your strategy from the very beginning, before a single piece of content gets written, because they have insights into what is happening on and what is trending on your website. Social media marketer, another great one, should be consulted on what sort of campaigns may resonate with the particular audience on a particular channel. And so again, they should be consulted before a decision is made on the content and before it has been approved. Otherwise, you could spend a lot of time redoing what was potentially good content. Not speaking with your customer service folks on the front line. This is key because these interactions don't happen digitally. So without talking to these folks, you might not know some nuances and insights that they have. So do not have conversations in ivory towers at the marketing or executive level that are based on hunches and on what will possibly work. Instead, we recommend data and science. Lack of time. As I mentioned, this one is interesting because we all have only 24 hours in a day and we can't get more time. So when we say that we don't have time, what we're really saying is we have other or competing priorities and only 4 to 6 hours of productive working time to get these things done in a given day. Additionally, when we say we don't have time, it's possible that we could be trying to boil the ocean, taking off or biting off more than we can chew. And then we get paralyzed by the amount of time we think it will take to do what needs to be done. Lastly, sometimes personalization just doesn't have someone leading the charge and extolling its important virtues. So lack of time really means that there isn't a champion for the cause. Someone who can say, hey, personalization is important. We know that it works, and we need to get on this. And then, of course, last but not least, inertia, insanity. We've always done it this way. This is definitely a blocker for progress. Doing things differently is hard. Yes, we get it. And it's easy to continue with the status quo. After all, we've gotten this far, haven't we? Our businesses are running, we've flourished, we've got a nice website. However, in the age of disruption and the ever-changing customer landscape, we cannot hang our hat on the status quo. You can think about Blockbuster. You can think about Uber, how they've transformed the industry, Airbnb. So it's important that we not be stuck in doing things the way we've always done them. In fact, Albert Einstein gave the definition of insanity. He said that doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result is insanity. So if we want different results, we need to do things differently. And it doesn't take much, honestly, it doesn't. So what is the solution? How do we solve for X? And that's for all the mathematicians on the call. And so we always say, take a scientific approach. And Britannica defines science as the process of observing, asking questions, and seeking answers through tests and experiments. And I'm going to emphasize tests and experiment. Content marketing is no different. We need to experiment and test our hypotheses to get the desired results. We need to also measure what is happening with our tests so that we can see truly what is going on and what resonates with our customers. Because as we know, the 80-20 rule also applies to content and content strategy. Even though content plays a major role in an organization, just putting out content for content's sake will not cut it. As we mentioned, our customers have expectations, and we know that it's usually seen that 20% of our content actually contributes, or only 20% of our content contributes to 80% of the results. So if we want more results, let's focus on the 20%. And that'll also give us more time to focus on what's important, rather than just putting out content. And so we use our scientific approach to do that. Search Engine Journal also stated that only 5% of marketers, 5%, rate their overall content marketing approach as extremely successful. 23% would say that it's very successful, and then 50% believe that it's moderately successful. And so again, this means that only a small fraction of the content marketing efforts result in conversions. So what's the right process? I'm glad you asked again. Let's take our 4 key areas and let's flip the switch and flip the table on them. Waterfall to Agile. Since 20% of our content drives 80% of our results, knowing which content gets the results and is getting attention is important. You should test the content and measure its engagement value frequently, using features like the Experience Optimizer inside Sitecore, as well as goals and outcomes to measure engagement value on your Sitecore instance. And I'll talk about how you go and set those up in just a few more slides. It's a mistake to be too confident that you actually know your customer. As I mentioned, they're always changing. Their needs are always changing, where they're at. COVID-19 was a classic example of what can happen if we're not ready and if we're not constantly on top of what's happening and what's trending. So be humble. Don't think that your perfect plan will always be perfect. Continue to be agile. Make ongoing, consistent improvements. Siloed teams, as we mentioned, involve everyone. There are many individuals within your organization, even developers, and I say even developers, but developers can also play a role in making sure that your site utilizes all of the features within Sitecore. So talk to them, get their experience as to what they've seen, what works, what doesn't work. Even your BA, your UX designers also can play a role. You need to understand every aspect of your customers' habits, preferences, and needs. This involves in collecting different sets of data and analyzing it carefully. Even at the business analyst level, I remember one of the things that we always try to say is build it into the requirements for everything that we're building. So if there's going to be a personalization on a component, let's build it into the requirements. It's an acceptance criteria. Before this is considered done, let's add it as a acceptance criteria. We need to set a goal on this. We need to tag this piece of content. And then when we launch our site, it's already ready to do personalization for us. So having the right team and using Sitecore can help you identify personas, collect the right data, which in turn will help you understand your visitors' behavior. So it's like a nice circular wheel. So data feeds your insights, which will feed your content strategy, and then your strategy you can test, and then you can measure, and then get the more insights, and around we go. All along, identifying the key things that drive buying and purchases. Having a digital marketing technologist on your team is also important. A digital marketing technologist is someone who knows the platform as well as understands the business objectives and strategy. Lack of time. So how long does it take and how do I start? Glad you asked. The next few slides will walk through some quick and fast wins within the Sitecore platform. If you have white papers, guides, and such on your website that you allow people to download, Sitecore out of the box will allow you to track those downloads. How many times, when, what time of day, all of that, right down to the second. And setting that up is actually very simple. At the same time you're uploading your media library item, you can actually go into Sitecore's, within that item, click on the Analyze and Attributes menu option, select the downloads from the Events tab, and you will see a checkbox that says select download. And then, of course, just save and publish your item, and then your analytics will begin collecting. And there's a report right within Sitecore Analytics that has for under behavior called downloads. And anytime someone downloads that resource, Sitecore will track that, and then you'll get those insights that you can action. How long does that take? 5 minutes, literally 5 minutes. You're in there uploading your media. You can do it right at the same time. No need for phase 2, just go ahead and do it. And that could be a content manager. You don't have to wait for a strategy for that. If you have that same content gated, or if you have submission forms like a register for a newsletter or specific calls to action on your website, you can actually track goals and events and outcomes, just like you would do with Google Analytics. You can do that right within the same Sitecore platform. And it gives you an opportunity to then implement personalization based on the achievement or triggering of those goals. And again, the process is very simple. First, define what it is, or decide what it is that you want to track as a goal. It should be aligned to something that is relative or relevant to a business objective. So if you know that your objective is to get X number of subscribes, then why not track that? And then set that as a goal. In the marketing control panel, you basically can right-click and choose create a goal. And then once that goal is created, you can assign that goal to a form, a save action within Sitecore. If you're using Sitecore forms, you can also attach that to a particular activity that may happen somewhere else on your website or web page. And then, of course, you want to publish it, both the goal and the item that you attach the goal to. How long does that typically take? We'll be generous and say it takes 15 minutes. So by the time you finish this presentation, you could have actually done both of those. So knowing your customer target audience, true personalization begins when you understand every target customer's habits, preferences, and needs. We know that by analysis and data collection. You'll know that I'll say that a lot. Data collection and analysis. Even if you don't know every detail, you can get started, as most marketers and companies know, at least in general terms, who their primary target audiences are. It's even easier to begin personalization using personas and avatars if they're documented. And I'll show you how easy it actually is. And of course, this will in turn give you more insights and data that you can analyze. So how do we translate personas into Sitecore? Well, again, it only takes about 20 minutes, but as a marketer, we already know who our people are, or at least we should. And what we say is first pick a persona, preferably your biggest target audience group, because that'll give you the fastest return on the information and the analytics and data that you need to make a truly informed insight, or get a truly informed insight into the customer. So choose your biggest group. And then once you've got your biggest group, you're going to pick a few attributes. I say 3 to 5. You don't want to, go into the 15 different things that makes up this person, who they are, because that's, again, biting off more than we should at this point. Start small, grow wisely. And so, yeah, pick 3 to 5 attributes that will distinctly identify this person being different from another persona that you may have visiting your website. And it should be related to the content that you're going to present for this individual and connected to the journey that they typically would take in becoming a customer, or any journey post being a customer. Once you've gotten that data, you can then head into Sitecore Marketing Control Panel once again, and you're going to create what they call a profile card, where you basically take that same data and create those items, and you're going to assess how important each of those attributes are, and again, compared to another persona. Then you're going to also take that profile card, and you're going to duplicate that. Essentially, you can duplicate it into what is called a pattern card. And the pattern card is what is used by Sitecore when someone visits your website to assign a particular individual, dynamically assign the persona name to a person that is visiting your website. So it's how Sitecore identifies that person as belonging to that specific persona. Once you've done that, you can now head over to the content that is relevant to that persona and tag it with your profile card. And that's when Sitecore begins its magic of tracking. Of course, as we mentioned before, save, publish, and again, 20 to 30 minutes to do all of those activities of creating the persona, tagging your content, and then publishing. And I say, do it in small bits. You don't have to tag every piece of content. Tag the most important or high trafficked content on your website so that you get the data coming back quicker. And then, of course, you can show your value by presenting all of these with nice reports showing how your campaigns are performing, how your goals are triggering, and how your personas are engaging with your website. You'll look like a superstar and a hero in your next strategy meeting. And Sitecore gives you all of those reports within its Sitecore Experience Analytics tool. You can also view individualized engagement, so right down to the specific person. If you've been able to identify someone, if they submitted a form and you've got their first name and email address, you can actually now tag all of their previous interactions or get insights on all of their previous interactions and report on that specific individual, and then deliver content specifically for them to drive them further along their engagement path in their customer journey. Big money, yes, absolutely. And then, of course, you will not see these metrics if you are not tracking engagement through goals and events. So again, spend the time, a few minutes here and there, and you'll be able to get all of these actionable insights. Last but not least, inertia insanity. We've always done it this way. I say that the easiest way to get started is really just to make a decision and literally push back against the status quo and arm yourself with data, and the decision becomes easier and much more justified. You'll get to the point where you can no longer ignore doing things the way you've always done them. And with that, I will turn it over to Rachna, who will share some more actionable insights that you can arm yourself with.
Thanks, Ken. So finding and using these actionable insights are important for any business. They help in making strategic and well thought through decisions. These decisions can bring in positive outcomes as they are data driven. So the very first tool that you need to analyze to find these actionable insights is on-site search. On-site search provides you those valuable insights about what people are searching for on your website. You should analyze what they did find and what they did not. Record this data and act on it. For example, if you sell t-shirts in your e-commerce website and your on-site search indicates that people are searching for purple t-shirts and you don't have them in your store, then it is the time to introduce that product on your site. The next important tool that I want to discuss is voice of customers. You should regularly read your customer reviews, understand what they like and dislike about your business or product, conduct regular surveys to identify your NPS and CSAT scores, and act on these reports to improve your customer experience. When it comes to Sitecore Experience Analytics, as Ken explained, you should create pattern cards based upon the behavior and interest of specific types of contacts, and then analyze these pattern matches. You should set up goals and study your goal completely. Sitecore Experience Analytics also helps you identify the most engaging user journeys on your site. You need to identify these journeys and make relevant changes. You should also use SEO tools like Moz, Ahrefs, SEMrush to perform site audits and fix any technical and content issues. We should evaluate what people are searching for on the internet using these tools, and then use that data to have a focused content strategy. Some of these tools also recommend the content you should be writing on specific to the topics you search. These tools will also help you track your website performance regularly. The next important tool as an SEO strategist that I recommend is Google Search Console. It's a wonderful tool for any digital marketer to understand what's going on their website. It not only tells you what Google thinks about your content, but the beauty is it gives you regular recommendations for improvement. You need to simply take these recommendations and make relevant changes on your site, and you are all set for success. Along with Google Search Console, you should have Google Analytics to get real-time traffic stats. And if you link both these properties together, there is nothing like it. When we talk about content strategy, we should not forget Answer the Public. It provides you raw search insights about what your customers are looking for on search engines in your local market. There are a lot of questions your customer need answers for. Discover them, and you discover the untapped goldmine of content ideas. Just take down these questions relevant to your industry keywords, and as the name suggests, it's now time to answer the public. Humans love feeling special, and we really don't need any statistics to prove this. We all love when something is specifically done for us, and we simply connect better to such experiences. There is enough literature out there that talks about how a personalized experience has a higher propensity to consume. That is why Ken was disappointed when he did not get the right email messages from the vendors he deal with. Personalization starts by focusing on the specific needs and preferences of your customers. And remember, sky is the limit. The goal is to create a wow factor by creating the right customer journey using personalization. If you use Sitecore personalization tool, you own a Sitecore website, you can do this very well. Or you can use Google Optimize, which is a free and easy to use tool to create personalization experiences for your website. In Sitecore, personalization can help you change the content served per visitor in real time based on the data that you collect from this visitor. It helps you understand the visitor's intent and then serving them the right content that meets the organization's objectives. You can create different tests as per your marketing objectives and your customers' actions on the website. These tests can play an important role in achieving your goals and give you a better understanding of what works for your organization. So go ahead and personalize. When we talk about actionable insights, the next big tools to discuss are 6sense and Zoom Info. Before going into the discussion about these tools, I would like to explain what is account-based marketing. So, account-based marketing is a very focused approach to B2B marketing where marketing and sales teams work together to target the best fit accounts and turn them into customers. Imagine, so far, our marketing teams were advertising on different channels, searching for leads. What if we get a list of organizations who are interested in our product or service? Sounds great, right? Mm-hmm. Selling to people who already have an intention to buy your product or service is much simpler than selling to a cold lead. You can leverage on tools like 6sense, Zoom Info, as they provide you the insights about the organizations visiting your web assets, the actions they perform, and what buying stage they are on. You can then focus on retargeting ads to these accounts through various channels and even show them personalized messages or landing pages using your Sitecore website when they revisit it next time. We are all set with the content. What is the next thing to do? You need to identify the channels to reach your audience. So this can be your website, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, depending upon the type of market you want to serve in. The right content will generate a better impact if it is delivered at the right time. Use the data on when, where, and how your target audience stays online. Explain So I'll give you an example. Like LinkedIn has a high rate of engagement between 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. or 12 noon to 1 p.m. On the other hand, Facebook and Twitter have an high engagement rate at 9 a.m., while Instagram it is 5 p.m. So you also don't want to leave YouTube or Pinterest if you have videos and images to promote. So figure out the channels where your audience is on and serve them there. Ken, what do you think retirement remodeling? And in fact, this question is for everyone who want to put it in chat.
Yeah, for me, when I saw retirement remodeling, I thought about what I'm going to do and how I'm going to live my life after retirement. So
Right.
the activities that I do daily.
Right. So this you figured it out because of the term that was there and an image behind it. So if you go to the next slide, I will explain what retirement remodeling meant for our customer. So recently, for one of our customers, we observed that they had a page on their website which talked about retirement remodeling. But the page was not performing as per Google Analytics and Search Console. So we looked at different tools to understand what should be the right focus on this page. And to do this, what you need to do is first understand what the content of that page is all about. Secondly, understand whether the title of the page or the URL of the page is doing the right justice with the content of the page. And third, the most important, try to evaluate what is the right visitor pain point that you're trying to solve. In this particular case, our customer was trying to sell bathroom remodeling and then a wrong term came that was a retirement remodeling. So we analyzed and found there is a very low search volume for retirement remodeling. In fact, people hardly search it. So the next thing that is important is what is searched more, and that pointed us to bathroom remodeling. For this particular page, we found that even the page content was talking about bathroom remodeling, and people choose that to undergo at their old age. So we analyzed and found 1 million people on Google alone in the USA is searching for this term. And we were not focusing on it for so long. So with our scientific and data-driven approach, we found the right keyword we needed. And at last, I would say, when it comes to content, leverage data to drive decisions on what to write and why to write. Okay, so it's just an attempt to change the mood of our audience. So which web series do you like the most? Out of the Queen's Gambit or Cobra Kai, which is your favorite show?
Yeah, actually, I watched the Queen's Gambit and started playing chess again. So it's funny that you'd use this as an example.
Yeah. So let me tell you the power of data here. So I went to Google Trends, which is again another important tool, and this is what I found. Cobra Kai was trending a lot as compared to the Queen's Gambit. The interesting thing here is to see that the latest season of Cobra Kai came out in 2019. However, it started trending in August 2020. Do you know why?
I'm guessing COVID.
Yes, well, we were all in lockdown and the only entertainment left was searching for good web series and recommending it to each other. So guys, please recommend some good web series for me in the chat and I can go back and see them. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you, Rachna. And so in conclusion, the key is to have the right people at the table, develop a testable, data-driven customer theories and engagement hypothesis from the beginning. Start with the small things and scale as you learn. Test, learn, and optimize. Use data and connect with everyone in your organization to ensure that you're getting all the insights for your customers. If you have any questions, both Rachna and I are on Twitter and LinkedIn. Our profiles are listed there, and I would like, again, to turn this over to our hosts for the day.
Hey guys, thanks for that presentation. That's some really good information. We do have one question. Pull it up here. From Amit, we've got a question for Ken. Is it true that tracking goals and downloads, etc., will negatively impact the performance of our Sitecore instance?
That's actually a really good question. I think the key here is how much of it that you do, but typically it would not impact. It's just a matter of how much, especially personalization. If you have a lot of different decisions that Sitecore needs to make, then there could be a potential performance impact.
Okay.
And yeah, so again, as per my previous slide, I would say that, yeah, do things, start small, and then of course you can even measure that, right? Measure the performance impact as you're going.
And I would like to add, even if you already have a content in place, go back, revisit your pages, and focus on the right term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Rachna and Ken, for that presentation.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Have a great day.
Now you can get out.
Thanks, both of you. Go enjoy the sun.
Yeah. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Now is the time for solidarity in the face of this threat to all of humanity. I implore leaders to stand together and heed this appeal.